there. This is Real Talk Baseball. I'm Carlos Baseball. With me, as always, is Ernie Orange. We have a great show for you guys today. There was an earthquake today in California. It was sunny, nice day. The time changed. We all kind of feel a little lazy. Good time to listen to our show and talk baseball, right, Ernie?
That is correct. What a beautiful day here in Southern California. We're happy to be back this Sunday. But first of all, we're excited because we're actually 18 days away from opening day. So that's really great news for us baseball fans. We do have a Tokyo series coming up, so that would be a lot to talk about coming up.
Definitely, man. I can't wait, dude. But the 3 in the morning games, it's gonna be kind of hard to watch. I know we're awake super early. For some of us out there, we're early birds, so we'll probably get to see a few
That's
innings
true.
in here. So that'll be
3 a.m.
fun.
sounds kind of tough.
Yeah. Yeah. If you guys haven't done so, please subscribe to all of social media. You know, we have YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. If you guys can hit that like and subscribe, we will really love it if you did that. We're trying to get to that 1K, right, Ernie? And this kind of seems like we got stuck a little bit. But we're all right. We're all right.
It's spring training. Baseball hasn't really picked up lately, but there's been a lot of changes in the past couple weeks in spring training.
Yeah.
A lot of injuries. What the heck is going on out there in Arizona and Florida?
Dude, that's crazy, man. We'll get right into it. Let me go in through the subjects that we're going to talk about today. We do have the IL report, and when, just like Ernie said, there's a lot of stuff going on in the spring training. Of course, we have Justin Turner talk about the Mariners organization on how much they need to spend, and we'll talk about it a little bit there. And Barry Bonds has been out in public lately on social media, on podcasts. I guess he wants to hit that Hall of Fame before he passes away because we talked about Pete Rose before. We thought he was going to get in before he passed, but it didn't happen. Now they're talking about getting Pete Rose into the Hall of Fame, and I guess Barry Bonds feels like he needs to do it now. And then we do have Julio Iglesias going to the Padres. We'll talk about that dynamic there. We'll talk about José Quintana. He's going to the Brewers, which I feel that's a good signing. And lastly, we'll talk Pham and Yankee fans. And Tommy Pham has always been one of those guys that comes out and fights against fans. And we have the video here for you. But first, we do have to talk about the IR report. So tell us, Ernie, who is the most impactful injury this spring training so far?
Well, it's just breaking news, unfortunately. The last hour, it was just announced that Gerrit Cole from the New York Yankees may have to get Tommy John surgery. He is still seeking a second opinion. There's more details to come, but just for now, there is already some issues. He pitched this spring training one start, did not look good, and he said there were some elbow issues there. Now, they already dealt with this same issue last season and was able to overcome the injury and still pitch pretty solid for the remaining of the season. But this is a huge concern for a Yankee team that just finished a World Series appearance and now looks like they will be dealing with a lot of injuries going forward this 2025 season.
Yeah, I heard that the Gerrit Cole was looking for that second opinion, and we're like, man, didn't that just happen last year? He went to that second opinion, and then of course he pitched the season, but this year looks a little different. It looks like he may need surgery for that elbow, and you know what that means? That's a Tommy John surgery that usually lets a player off of the field for a whole year, and probably even more than the full year. But it sucks for the Yankees. Their pitching staff, it got stronger with signing a free
Max Fried.
Max Fried, and then of course they've been having that issue with Stroman, so now he's probably have to pitch, dude. He's gonna be part of that rotation. Yeah, and I've heard a lot of things about other people like Trevor Bauer, dude. He's come out and say, you know what? Go ahead and sign me right now. I'm free. I can do that. He's a Cy Young Award winner as well, though. So they can look into that. And there's other pitchers that's still in the market, but I don't know, man. I just feel like the Yankees are not catching a break right now because you heard another one standing. He may need season-ending career surgery on those elbows as well because the way that he's swinging the bat from last year, he had some injuries where he feels it's critical. It's not like something he said, oh, it only hurts here and there. No, it hurts on a persistent day-to-day thing for him. So that sucks, man. That's another guy. And I've heard earlier in spring training too that Aaron Judge was saying that we don't need him. We need him probably into the end of the season so we can go into the playoffs with him because he can rake in the playoffs. But doesn't seem that way right now, right?
That is true. Giancarlo Stanton changed his batting stance last season, and it definitely affected him big time. Both elbows are hurting, and like you said, that's pretty severe. If you may have to call this career ending, that's a tough break for the Yankees. Gerrit
Yeah,
Cole, on the other hand, it's a huge loss for the Yankee team that expected a lot from their ace. And now you're asking yourself, what are you going to do going forward? Luis Gil, the rookie sensation from last year, is also dealing with a lat strain this spring training. He's expected to miss 6 to 8 weeks, and it's not looking good right now. I mean, you're talking about a Yankee team that their projected starting pitchers are Max Fried, who just got signed, Clark Schmidt, who still has a little bit iffy here and there, Carlos Rodon, who has been also mixed, and Marcus Stroman. So I don't
yeah,
know how deep they can go with that AOEs. This is going to be a tough battle, and it's hard for me to say right now that they're going to repeat as division winners.
yeah. Because it's just really hard, right? It's really hard, and it sucks, and it's bad news for the Yankees. There's other injuries around the MLB that I mean, it's not as impactful as this one. Those are out. Those injuries might be out 6 weeks, eight tops. You expect that from players when it happens in spring training, of course. But this one, it's really gonna hurt the Yankees big time, and not just the Yankees. Like we do have the fantasy show, and we've been talking about Gerrit Cole since last year. So, we were talking about that Tommy John, and how like if you pick them up, like, are you expecting him to pitch? Are you even thinking about having them or dropping them or whatever it is? But we do have the Thursday show for that, so we'll let those guys talk about Gerrit Cole and what to do with him, and maybe just wait till the news happens and see if he's going to be out all season.
Yeah, but I have one thing to add. There's
Yeah,
been so many injuries at spring training, like more than I've ever seen. What's up with that? You got players like, let me give you guys a couple examples of players that are currently dealing with injuries. Adolis Garcia El Bombi is dealing with an oblique strain.
El
That's
Bombi,
El Bombi. Remember him? That was his
dude. I didn't know
nickname.
that was his nickname.
That was his nickname in the World Series when
El
they went all
Bombi.
deep.
Oh shit.
El
Okay.
Bombi, yeah. So, he's in with an oblique strain. Sean Manea from the Mets is also dealing with an oblique strain. Another crucial, they lost their starting catcher, Francisco Alvarez. A second time in his career, back-to-back years, where he's going to be missing the start of the season, 6 to 8 weeks with a bone issue in his left hand. That's not looking good.
No.
Who else we got missing? Grayson Rodriguez is dealing with elbow issues as well for the Orioles. He took a cortisol shot today, and hopefully could avoid Tommy John as well. Man, it just keeps adding on every single day. We hear about more players missing out. The Dodgers are going to miss out on Michael Grove, just had shoulder surgery. Looked like he was going to be ready, but not looking good either. The
Nope.
list just continues and continues. And this is a huge concern for me because we're talking about we want to grow the game of baseball, but the talent just continues to fall and deplete itself in the field every time they play. What do you
Yeah.
think is the cause of all these injuries, Carlos?
Dude, it's just a hard throwing arm. It used to be 90 miles per hour. That was fast, or 88 miles per hour. That was really fast. Then we hit the 2000s and everybody's hitting that 94, 95. And you're like, whoa, that's fast. You hit the 2010, everybody's throwing that 98 to 100. And now we're seeing 105 mile per hour fastballs. So people are throwing their arms out, dude. And I just feel like maybe we need to think about moving. There was time that they were going to move the mound a little bit more back, and maybe the pitchers were thinking about finding a way to throw a different angle. So there is science on those different angles. Everybody's looking into it, but the speed is going to go down. It's not going to be 105. It's going to be probably in the 90s, but they're going to be able to save their arm. And that's the crazy thing, that when you're looking at baseball, you want to be the best out there. You want to throw the hardest. You want to be the one that's like, oh man, look at that guy. He throws 105 mile per hour. Like,
Yes.
wouldn't you want to be that guy? Of course. Every kid looks at that and they're like, I want to reach that and even more. I want to be the best in baseball. So I can see that. I have an oblique injury too, man. Swinging the bat.
That's a tough one, man. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it hurts. It hurts. It's uncomfortable. You can't really move much. I mean, you can do your day to day, but then you forget when you forget that you have that little injury there. It sucks, man. It sucks. But yeah, definitely sucks for all these teams that have players that are hitting the IL. And we will keep you guys updated. We'll get the list because it was kind of hard to get a list this time, Ernie. Like I looked everywhere. I try to get the list so we can post it on here so people can see if we already talked about that person. They can see if he's on the list, and you know I just couldn't find it. But definitely for next show, we'll put the IL report on here, and maybe we'll have all the players on there, because I think we should show those players, because there's a
Yeah,
lot of players that we're missing right now.
it's just the list continues to grow every single day. It's nonstop. I just feel like these players are like not fully playing baseball during the off season. They're just taking time to recover, and then spring training comes and they try to go at 110% full force to be that guy they were once, and that causes all these random injuries that, man, these poor guys miss significant time and affect their teams big time.
Yeah, yeah, it does. It does. Well, let's talk about the Mariners. I know we talked about them last week, and we said that the Mariners were going to be a surprise team to make the playoffs, or possibly win the division, right? So
Yes.
ex-player from the Mariners, Justin Turner, came out and said that he had talked to the organization about getting players to the Mariners, not pitching, because we all know pitching's great out there, but some hitters that want to go out there and play to make that team better than what it is now. They could barely score 1 or 2 runs, not helping the pitchers. So Justin Turner took it upon himself and said, you know what? You need to spend more money. You need to try to get this team to the next level. Remember, last year they were 1 game away from making that playoff, and they failed. And they didn't do anything in this offseason, and they didn't even sign Justin Turner either. They didn't even offer him any money from what I know. So what is going on with baseball, and what's going on with the Mariners not signing anybody?
Yeah, that's a tough scenario, right? Justin Turner showing his frustration. I think he wanted to come back to Seattle and finish his career there.
Yeah.
Now, he had to end up going to the Chicago Cubs on a 1 year, $6 million deal, but he's totally right. And I feel like every Mariner fan can agree that this is a time to spend. You finally have a future pitching staff that's considered one of the greatest we have in the MLB, and you're not spending any single money. The only players they signed this offseason was Jorge Polanco on a short-term deal. And this is a time where you have to spend and provide support for Julio Rodriguez. I don't know what Jerry DePoto thinks. I think he just feels that the team has enough to win already with the roster it has. If they were just to pick up their batting average and be 15, at least, in the middle of the pack, this team makes it to the playoffs, Carlos, with that rotation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
The rotation's number 1 or number 2 and everything out there right now.
right. So this is one of the best pitching stats we have right now, right? Now, George Kirby just goes down this week with shoulder inflammation. That's one guy we did not mention in the last segment, but now you're already depleted one of your guys. Another injury comes around, and that's going to hurt that pitching staff. And now you don't have enough offense to support that. So Justin Turner has every right to say his frustration. Like every Mariner fan will probably tell you the same. I'm not sure what's going on with ownership. I think Mariner fans are feeling it, man. They're frustrated. They have never won a World Series, and it's time they make moves to this team in the winning side.
Dude, they've never made it to the World Series, which is surprising. That's the only team in MLB to not ever make it into the World Series. But Jerry DePoto, so I just want to go ahead and say this, because he did talk to Justin Turner, and he told him, if I had the money to do it and I had ownership backing me up, I'll sign a big player. Now, take into to account that stadium is not a hitter's park, right? So if you're going to go out and get a hitter, you're going to have to overpay to get that hitter there. Like, I don't see any baseball player saying, I'm gonna go out there to Seattle and become the best hitter, because we know that's not a hitter's park, right? So Jerry DePoto, I feel bad for the guy. I know his mind and his, I guess his pen is in the right place. He wants to get players there, but he has to overpay, and he needs ownership to back him up for that to happen. Now, the other thing is, scouting for them is not the best in baseball. They need to go out and scout some hitters. They need to go to the República Dominicana, look for some hitters out there, a Juan Soto type, a Pujols type, but they don't. So they need to start, I guess, looking for new scouting, or looking to see what they can do to get minor leaguers, and then start from there so they can get used to that stadium, dude. Like, I just feel like the Mariners our pitching staff is too good for them not to have any hitting, man. And that sucks. And I feel Justin Turner. So that's good he said it.
Right. Let me just remind everyone where this Jerry DePoto come from. His previous last job was with the Los Angeles Angels, which he depleted a farm system there, and now he's doing the same thing with the Seattle Mariners. That guy's willing to spend, but it's the ownership that's not willing to spend, and that's a huge problem now.
Yeah.
But you're talking about a Mariners team that if they just compete offensively just a tad bit, this team's going to make the playoffs. And now you're going to compete with this Houston Astros and Texas Rangers team that are expected to be fighting for the division. Now, I'm not sure what the Mariners were thinking. You had options of signing a Christian Walker, Alex
Hmm.
Bregman. There was potential Pete Alonso players that could have came to the Mariners.
Yeah.
You have the money. Why not spend it? This is the best pitching staff you're probably ever going to have as a team. So go for it.
Yeah.
The championship's there and you don't want it. So it's kind of sad.
And the window's shutting down. It's slowly closing down, especially with all these Tommy John surgeries happening to these pitchers because they're throwing harder. They're I guess the pandemic, right? We're calling in it the Tommy John pandemic because there's been a lot more injuries since I believe 2020, 2018 from then on. So I think that's where the Mariners need to start looking like the time is now and let's spend now. Maybe they're waiting for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to hit the free agency so they can go ahead and sign him. So we'll see and
You
keep a
better see
close
them
eye.
making that move because they have to, right? But Randy Rosarena and Julio Rodriguez doesn't sound like a bad duo, if you ask me.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But we also saw Rosarena last year. He went there and he didn't make a dent in that team. Like he didn't put any
No,
oomph. Like I didn't see the oomph that I saw in Tampa Bay. So
that ballpark hurt him. His
yeah,
deep ball was not flying at all there, and he had to make some big time adjustments going forward because T-Mobile Park is not the same as the one in Tampa Bay. Can't even think
it's
of the stadium name.
hey, everybody, every stadium name changes. So I know. Remember, it was Tropicana. So
Yes.
I guess the ceiling ripped with all the tornado and everything that happened there. So where are they playing anyway?
Well, the Yankees are going to offer their minor league stadium for them to play there for the remaining of the season. So
Sweet.
Tampa
Okay.
Bay Rays will be playing in a new stadium
Yeah.
owned by the Yankees.
So it seems like the Yankees own the Rays. Then I guess.
Yeah, that's always been the case. So
Yeah, right. All right, let's move on, man. And this one kind of hits me a little bit because remember, I used to talk and I still talk back in the day, like back in my day, I used to do this, And Barry Bonds, like I said, he's been coming out a lot on social media, podcasts, MLB Network, ESPN, or any sports channel you can think of, he's been coming up. And I feel like it's more like he's been coming out because he wants to be in the Hall of Fame. And who doesn't? Who doesn't want to be remembered for their achievements? And it just sucks that he played in an era that they tainted so much with the steroids, right? And he never came. I don't know if it was ever confirmed that he was on steroids, right? Because they weren't doing MLB wasn't doing their job, So
right.
that's MLB's fault. Why are you punishing this man for it? I know he's not a person that you like to talk to. He's arrogant. He he's all any name you could think of. That's what he is. So why do you think he's coming out right now so much on social media?
Oh, he's because that's the way to do it these days. If you want to be loved by people, you have to make appearances on TV, podcasts, be involved with the MLB, current MLB players. And he kind of hid in shadows for a very long time. He did help out the Miami Marlins for a little bit as a batting coach. But other than that, he was not in the mix with the MLB for a long time and just always being in the shadows, kind of hiding. Because he's been looked down upon between these writers not being accepted into the Hall of Fame for the
Yeah,
steroid era.
yeah,
But he made some funny remarks in that All the Smoke podcast. He's saying that if Ohtani was to be playing in his day, he would probably take a pitch up towards his head. Now, I don't know how I felt about that. Do you agree what he said? Like, was that true? I mean,
that
you
was true.
played during
That
that
was
era,
true. But that was true though. Like if okay, so we're talking about 90s, early 2000s baseball when Barry Bonds was like on fire. And you wouldn't even pitch to that man. Like I said, I've always said it on this podcast when we went to see this man in Dodger Stadium, every time he stepped into that plate, it seemed like he was going to hit it out. And
Yes.
when he did hit it out, the very next at bat, they will walk him. They would throw on between his numbers. He'll back off. Of course, remember if you ever seen Barry Bonds hit, he had that armor kind of like Shohei Ohtani has.
Right.
So he would be a player that will get hit or get walked or you know what, just take your base. We don't need you. We don't want to pitch to you. But he still like he was a tough out. And what he says was to surprise me. Like he always said the ball that he's throwing out there, because he said, I think they asked him a question about can he hit 100-mile-per-hour fastball, and he said yes right away. And he said it last year too in um, one of the interviews on Fox. And the way that he approaches that is he always says that he needs to throw that ball, and I need to pretend that I'm catching it with the bat. And
Exactly.
that's a thing that he always said. I remember when I was a kid and he would say that, and I would try to think about like how can I do that? Because it is hard to hit a ball. I don't care what people say that it's not as easy to hit. It's one of the easiest things to do. It's not. It's not an easy thing to do. Like so, especially 100-mile-per-hour fastball. You're talking about you don't have a lot of time to think about it. But he's saying make it simple. Try to catch the ball with your bat and hit it. So but yeah, going back to your question, yeah, in those times, Ernie, yeah, they used to throw at hitters a lot. Used to throw to Manny. I mean not Manny. Well, Manny Ramirez was one of those players that always got hit because he would hit home runs. Big Poppy, that's why there was a lot of fights. Nolan Ryan was one of those players that used to throw in between the numbers if you hit a home run off of him. So you had those type of pitchers. Roger Clemens was another one, and I like I said, I think he played in an era where MLB is at fault for them taking steroids if they were taking steroids allegedly, right?
Yes.
But I think MLB, I can't. It sucks. It sucks that they didn't name it. They could have called it the Barry Bonds mania. Everybody had a mania, right? And Barry
Right.
Bonds didn't. And it could be because he was probably like an arrogant guy, dude.
Okay, let
So
me just break it down. So I read a story about Barry Bonds. I read his book, Game of Shadows. He was a special character. He was a guy that was always jealous that he was kind of overlooked at, because he was a person of color. He hated the fact that, white players were seen differently. So he seems like he was a guy that wasn't very liked by the MLB. He always had strong opinions and he hates, and I feel like there's some type of jealousy that Otani's getting the same special treatment. I'm sorry to tell you, but Ohtani is like MLB loves him,
yeah,
and the commissioner is going to do everything in his power to protect them for at all costs. And if that was to happen today, where a pitcher would try to throw at Ohtani's head, he'll get suspended for a year.
yeah,
Why?
yeah,
Because Roger Manfred knows how much Ohtani brings to the table and how much money he produces. Now, if you hurt this guy like Ohtani, what he brings to the game and how big he's grown the game globally, that's a huge problem for Manfred, right? So dude, even if he was playing in the 90s, I feel like Bud Selig would have stepped in as well and would have said, you did not do this to my star player for the MLB. Why? Because this is the guy that's going to grow the game bigger than ever.
yeah. I think, yeah, I agree with you on that. I think Bud Selig had the chance to do that. He had the chance to protect Barry Bonds. He had the chance to protect Sammy Sosa. He had the chance to protect Rafael Primero, and he
He failed.
didn't. He failed. He failed all these players. So now these players had to go to court and say they didn't do steroids, and some of them came out positive on it after that. And now they look at him and look at Rafael Primero. He's not even nowhere to be seen, and he hit 500 home runs, dude. So it's MLB's fault that these guys were hitting or getting steroids and not being tested. If they were being tested, and it got to a point where these guys were hitting home runs like that, and they would get hit behind the number, then now I could probably see Bud Selig be like, "Hey, yeah, these guys are going to be suspended," kind of like what you're saying about Ohtani now. And I do agree. I think as baseball got a little bit more into this year's where we're not popping at home, we're not sliding at second to break the double play. I just feel like that's. I mean, I don't know, man. It's an unwritten rule, right? When someone hits a home run off of you, you hit the next player, or you didn't like it, the pitcher will hit the player the next at bat, and that's what happened in the 90s, early 2000s. So
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. But even with Otani playing in that era, he would have been treated differently. Just
he
that
would
he's that
have,
type of player, that two-way player that we've never seen since Babe Ruth. Look at the cheating scandal I'm sorry, not the cheating scandal, the gambling scandal that we just had
gambling.
last year around this time. Everybody just seems to forgot what happened. It
Yeah.
was so what series was this? Back in Korea series,
Oh yeah, the before
right?
the Padres. Yeah.
Was caught gambling with Otani's money. What happened to that? I feel like everybody forgot about that, Carlos. Look how
Yeah.
much Otani's protected for the same reason. He is MLB's special talent that we never probably will ever see again and has to be protected at all costs. So,
Yeah.
This is a funny one. I was going to bring up another scenario. There was a time where Shohei Ohtani was pitching when he was with the Angels, and he accidentally hit Mark Canha. And Mark kind of was ready to rush Ohtani. Ohtani's
Oh
that
yeah, I
type of
remember that.
guy, man. Ohtani was like, sorry, man. I didn't mean to throw it that bad. It was my bad. He was afraid. Ohtani's one of the nicest guys that we could possibly have in the MLB.
Yeah,
Barry Bonds, on the other hand, I'm sorry, man. He was born in an era where, his godfather was Willie Mays. His dad was Bobby Bonds. He was involved in the clubhouse. He got to see the racism. He got to see everything in the MLB, how it all played out. Ohtani comes from overseas and is treated like the nicest guy. He doesn't know what it is to play MLB in the U.S. growing up as a kid of color.
true. Hey, I got to answer a question for you though. With all this said, and with what we know with Pete Rose and everything that he might get a pardon and whatever by the president, do you feel like Barry Bonds deserves a shot to be in the Hall of Fame?
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. Barry Bonds deserves to be there no matter what. I think Neto in the comments mentioned he's considered the greatest left fielder we've ever seen in this game, man. I remember being a kid at Dodger Stadium, Carlos. The Dodger fans would boo the shit out of Bonds. And I used to sit back in the pavilions asking myself, why are you booing the greatest player we've ever seen at that time? Barry Bonds was something special I had ever seen as a kid, man. I seen him hit in my experience, I saw him hit 2 bombs at Dodger Stadium. And like you said, every time he hit the ball, that shit was it was
Yeah,
demolished. It was a beautiful thing to see. And as an Angel fan, just watching a Dodger Giant rivalry was something special.
yeah,
And Dodger fans gave him crap, but he was a talent that we've never seen in this game. And like you said, Bud Selig failed him, and he failed a lot of other players, right?
he did.
So he
He did.
deserves it. And I think this is where we have to have that conversation where the MLB has to go on a different route on selecting Hall of Famers. I don't think they should be sitting there 10, 15 years trying to see if they're going to finally make it. Either he's a Hall of Famer now or not. Move on. Next
Yeah,
player.
make him a Hall of Famer while he's alive. Don't make him a Hall of Famer when he's gone, and he's not going to be able to celebrate those accomplishments because those are accomplishments on his MLB career. So you need to do it. They need to do it now so he can celebrate it. Of course, he needs to kind of humble himself too. He needs to. He can't just be that guy that he's always the guy that's at the defense. He's like taking back and be like, oh no, I used to be this and I used to be that, and the jealousy right kicks in. And to answer or actually rebuttal to the Bulls were more of a respect for the player. Like we lived in the time that the Giants and Dodgers didn't get along at all, and
Yeah, that's true.
those Bulls were more for him as like this is what I need to hit more home runs here at Dodger Stadium. And as a fan, like we didn't know that. We were like, damn, we could just stay quiet. But no, I think it was just rivalry, and him knowing that, and the fans knowing that we needed to boo him. I mean that was all there. Especially those times when Eric Gagne and this guy went at it. Man, there's those videos are dope. If you guys want to check them out, I think I always say this. If you guys want to check it out, you guys can check them out on YouTube. But those were some good battles, big time good battles.
Right,
So
man. But Ohtani, man, he's the best player we've ever had now. So,
yeah,
and I think Barry Bonds could agree. But he made one comment that I was kind of like, what? He kind of mentioned that the antics, the way the players celebrate, the way they practice these days, that they should be hitting more home runs and be more successful at bat. And I was kind of like, wait, what? Just because you get to celebrate now, you should be performing better? That didn't make sense to me.
really?
I'm like, I'm sorry, Barry Bonds, but pitchers were not throwing 100 miles like they are these days. Like
Nah.
back in the day. You know what I mean?
So he's saying that they should be hitting more home runs because they're allowed to celebrate, or what is
Well,
it?
that's what he was kind of saying, like the antics, like, oh, back in my day, I wasn't allowed to do these antics. I couldn't do a backflip. I couldn't do this. And this is again the same Barry Bonds. I'm telling you, the jealousy. He's that type of guy. That book I read, Game of Shadows, man, it's a beautiful book. I'm gonna share it to you so you can see why he decided to do steroids. Because in that book,
Uh,
it tells you why he finally decided to do it. And
okay.
obviously, he will see Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa getting all the love, and he's like, "What about me? What
What
about
about me?
me?"
I,
It
I
was
have
always
more
about him. Like
contact.
I should be that guy.
Yeah, and he had
I
more
have more
more
MVPs.
contact. He had more contact discipline too. Like
Exactly.
from the Pirates going to the Giants, he had that plate discipline. He was way better at it. And with the steroids, I guess it just made the ball go further. But that contact, no one's gonna teach you contact. Contact, you need to learn yourself. You need to work hard at it. And steroids doesn't do that. steroids doesn't open your eyes and slow the ball down for you and make it look like a beach ball. It doesn't do that. Like I've never done steroids, but I imagine that those players are not seeing the ball like a beach ball out there, so they can hit a home run all the
All right,
time
Carlos,
like
I have
that.
a question for you.
Yeah,
Since you play college baseball, did you see guys doing steroids in the locker room?
all the
Maybe
time,
that's really
dude. When we went to I saw it in high school actually, but not in the high school I went to. When
okay.
we went to those tryouts for the All Stars at the other high schools, these guys were talking about shooting themselves, and I'm like, I never put that together. When I was a kid, I was really close minded. I was more of like everybody's lifting weights and they're doing their thing. Of course, I heard of McGuire because that was the era that McGuire and Sammy Sosa was going after the record. I was hearing steroids, but in that time we were hearing creatine was the bad thing to use.
Okay.
Creatine and all these things. Mark McGuire takes creatine, and that's not good for you. And you need to drink a lot of water and all this stuff, right? So when we went to that All Star game, and I saw a player say, "Oh no, I need to shoot up because I feel sore as hell." So what I guess now that I'm talking about it, what he was trying to say is that because he didn't take steroids, he feels sore and he needs to hit the gym a lot harder, so he will take them. And that's what
Okay.
it does. It makes the recovery a lot faster. So that's and he was saying, "Oh yeah, because for some reason I was sitting next to the guy and he goes like, "Yeah, man, I'm hitting 220. I'm gonna hit 240 tomorrow." And I'm like listening to this, but I wasn't putting it together. I wasn't like making sense of it at that time. Not until years later, I understood what they were talking about, and that's
Okay.
crazy, dude. It's crazy. But
Hey, that's
baseball players, dude, baseball players, they're arrogant. They're big time arrogant. There's not been a tryout that I've been to when I was a younger guy that they were not arrogant at all. I would play with these Dominicanos, with Puerto Ricanos, like, dude, they all were arrogant. Not until you got a base hit or made a nice play, they will come and talk to you.
okay.
So,
You
yeah,
have to prove yourself.
you have to prove to yourself to them, like you're like, what? Wait, no, dude, I'm here too. Like I'm trying out just like you. You haven't made shit either, but
Okay.
they felt that way. And for me, it was just a little tougher to feel like I belong here. I was more of like I'll stay back and whatever, play my game. And I
Right.
should have been more outspoken, but whatever. That's why I'm trying to teach these younger kids to talk a lot more and be outspoken because it needs to happen. They can't stay quiet. So yeah, I'll let them
I
know
like it. I
tomorrow in
like it.
practice.
I like your take, man. Thank you for
Yeah,
breaking down, what you went through as your playing career, man. That's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. I just want to thank
yeah.
all our listeners out there. Thank you for tuning in and commenting. We've kind of been just on a talk nonstop, but we are seeing your comments. We are reading them, so we'll try to post them here on the show. Just make sure to hit that like and subscribe if you're listening for the first time. Thank you, everybody out there. But yeah, next topic, Carlos. I'm ready. Let's go, man. You got me
Let's go,
pumped now
man.
talking Barry.
Let's go, man. Let's talk about José Iglesias, dude. And this guy just signed with the Padres. Remember, this guy had a song last year, and he did pretty good with that song, and he had the Mets going with it. I have a clip.
Whoa,
Dude,
whoa,
the
whoa.
dance. Hey, the dance moves, man.
Candelita lighting City filled up. I'm just waiting for the next concert at Petco Park. So it's a great signing for the San Diego Padres. I think it's perfect for them. It brings another depth piece in for their team. They need it. Xander Bogaerts is moving to short, and they need more info help after losing Hassan Kim. So it's a nice addition. Now, I hope he brings that spark that Clubhouse really needs. And I'm just ready to see the next concert at Petco Park. Let us know when there's tickets available, Jose.
Dude, a lot of people don't believe me when I say a lot of baseball fans has those type of moves. We see Kike dancing out in the field. Of course, you saw Jose Iglesias, and they don't believe that these guys have these moves moving out there. It's just you have to have footwork, and when you have footwork, you can move that way. You can start dancing. You can do all these other things, which is crazy, right? But yeah, going back to what you're saying, I think with the loss of Profar, I feel like Profar was one of those guys that were the one of those leaders in that Padre organization. One of the guys that that will joke around because they say he was a nice guy. That when you would talk to Profar, he'll sign autographs with anybody. He'll talk to fans. Of course, we saw what happened at Dodger Stadium in the playoffs last year. It did not look that way. It looked like Dodger fans were going after him, but then he was talking junk back. And, we saw the debacle happen, right? But Julio Iglesias bringing that intensity and bringing maybe a new song to the Padres to make it all the way, it could happen, right? So I
I
don't
don't
know.
know, man. I think he should just stick to this one hit wonder. Let's just do that.
I think there's another song though. I should have, because there's another song on the rise for him, so I should have put it on here so you guys can hear it. But I think he's just gonna be a good guy for that club, and they need it. They need it. Like I said, Profar was one of those guys, and he's not there anymore. You have Jose Iglesias coming in. He had the oh my god with the Mets, and look how the Mets did. Ever since he came into that stadium to play for the Mets were a different team in those 81 games that he played for them. So now the Padres get to feel that Canelita, that's what the name of the song is?
No. The song is Oh My God. His artistic name is Candelita.
Candelita. What the? It's not Jose Iglesias?
No, man. You have to have a special name for that. What you mean?
I thought it wasn't. I thought it was just Jose Iglesias. Like what the hell?
No,
Like
man. There's already a Julio Iglesias. There's no more. There don't need to be no more Iglesias on
dude,
artists.
there's a Julio Iglesias, Enrique Iglesias. He would be part of that Iglesias group. Why not? I think he would get more love like that, dude.
No, man. He has to have his own MLB touch to it. But it's awesome to see that an MLB player is also a singer. That's also pretty cool. You have players like in the past, like Jose Reyes has also been an artist himself.
Really? Okay.
Yes,
I
you didn't know that.
I knew Jack McDowell back in the day. He had his own rock band. There's a picture from the Reds. I can't think of his name, but he'll pop up right now. He played guitar and sung some songs. He has a famous song as well. He kind of sounds like, I don't know if you guys ever heard of Creed. Kind of sounds in that genre, like Pearl Jam and stuff like that. So once I guess as the show goes on, the name will pop up.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of MLB players they play instruments as well. Bernie Williams is one of them that I could think of right now. He plays a guitar, amazing player.
Yeah.
You got Scott Spezio from the Angels, used to play in a rock band too.
Oh, that's true. I remember him. Yeah, Scott Spezio.
Yeah, so,
I think he dyed his hair red or something like that too, right?
He's the one. But I definitely think this Julio Iglesias is a great signing for this Padre team. Looking at their moves towards the end of this offseason, it turned out pretty well for them. They added Julio Iglesias, they added Jason Hayward, Nick Pivetta. I feel they added some depth that they needed. I feel like they have their core players they want to keep long term, and they added pieces here to mix it up and not have to overpay for these guys. You brought in some veterans that could still provide support for your core players.
That's true. And then those vibes, man. I went to the Charger game this last year, and I felt those San Diego vibes here in LA. And it was crazy, dude. When you go out there to San Diego, you feel that cool vibe, like chill vibe. And I felt that here in LA because there's a lot of San Diego people coming to the Charger games. Of course, Chargers were in San Diego. Now they came to LA, and you felt those vibes. And having this guy having those good vibes as well, I think they're just going to do good. So I just wanted to throw that out because those vibes in San Diego at the Padre game, those are really cool. They're like chill, I don't know if you've ever felt that, right? Is it like a really chill environment, like relax watching a baseball game? If you've never been to Petco, like I suggest you guys go. But it's nice. It's a good vibe.
This is the type of guy you need when you face the Dodgers, right?
Yeah. Yes.
It's too intense for those Padres. They look mad all the time. They're upset, ready to kill the Dodgers, and they just can't. And you bring them,
and they need this guy
to calm them down. That's what you need.
Yeah, definitely, dude. Because right now they're all talking like, "Oh, we're gonna win the division," and all their conversation is around the Dodgers instead of them focusing on let's win the World Series. Let's go and win the World Series. And all they're talking about is Dodgers this, Dodgers that. We need to beat the Dodgers. We're gonna beat the Dodgers. Like, tired of it. Anyway,
totally get you, man. I just want to give the listeners that are coming in, if you missed the first half of the show, just breaking news: Gerrit Cole may need Tommy John surgery. He is seeking second opinions to see if he could avoid this Tommy John, but huge loss for the Yankees. We just want to throw that out there for any listeners that may just be coming in. But yeah, man, let's move on to the next topic.
Yes, sir. And the last topic, not last topic, but almost the last topic, Jose Quintana signed with the Brewers, and I think this is a great sign for the Brewers. I know the Brewers didn't make a lot of moves this offseason. They got this guy for $4 million. Someone else could have got him. The Yankees could have went and got him, dude. And they just decided not to go. and get him. So now the Brewers have him. I think this is great. They went at 10-10 last year, 3.75 ERA. He pitched 170 innings, which is really good if you ask me. And
Yeah,
the
man.
whip was 1.25. So I think it's going to be great. And then the Brewers are known to have a great defense, so they're going to back him up. His ERA is going to be a lot lower than what it was last year.
Totally
So
agree with you there. Jose Quintana has just been the a perfect player to go to different teams. This perfect guy to go for 1-year deals. Last year with the Mets, I did not expect him to do so great. He changed it around and he found himself a home. I'm shocked that the Mets didn't make a move for him. Now you let him walk away, and he's now with the Brewers team that with the addition of Nestor Cortez, Freddie Peralta, that looks like a pretty solid 1, 2, 3 for me. And
yeah,
they're already the division winners in the NL Central from last year, and they have what it takes to compete again. So I'm glad that the Brew crew is making some effort. You know, it's another team that is always falling short from the World Series, and they deserve a shout out there for those fans in Milwaukee. So it's great to see a lefty pitcher go out there. Like you said, a lot of teams could use more arms, and they missed out on this cheap $4 million deal, if you ask me.
they did, dude. And it was super cheap to where I was just kind of like, why was he so cheap? Is he just not going to be a good pitcher? The Brewers have a good defense. What else do they have? They have a nice ballpark for pitchers. He's going to do great there. He's just going to do great. I think he's going to be one of the surprises. I mean, not like going to be an ace top pitcher.
Right. He's
I'm not
not that
saying
guy.
that.
He eats
No,
innings. He will get you through
exactly.
some 6 innings and help you out.
The 175 innings pitch or 170 innings pitch for this guy, this is perfect. You're not going to get 210, 215 out of these guys anymore. But if he reaches that 270, 275 again, that money well spent. So I'll leave it at that.
You said
Um,
that the Brewers are a good defensive team. They did lose Willie Adames, which is a huge loss in short. They are replacing him with Joey Ortiz. How impactful you think that's going to be for the Brewers?
Dude, look, with Willie Adames, he covers a lot. He covers, and this is where I throw in my my shortstop sense of the game. That's why I put the Giants last week to surprisingly win the wild card. And not saying they are going to win the wild card, but I'm just saying because Willie Adames, covers a lot of real estate. He's a good defensive player. Now with the Brewers, the new shortstop, we're going to see what happens there. But it's just, it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same. But uh, you put me on the tough one, man. I don't think he's a good shortstop.
No, yeah, it's gonna
No,
be a tough one, man. They're
yeah,
gonna have to find some young prospect out there to hope to see if he could be the next Willie Adames. But they're definitely gonna take some hits losing that shortstop with Willie Adames. But this is what the Brewers do. They let guys walk away once it's time to pay, and they'll find the young prospects like Bryce Turang just came out of nowhere, a second baseman. I tell people, you know who that is? And they're like, no. And they're like, that guy had 50 stolen bases last year. What? Exactly. It's guys like that the
yeah.
Brewers find. Scrappy players that will just do the right things and get the right plays, and they don't have to pay them any top dollar for them. And the moment they do, they let them walk away and trade them.
They do. And Shirio's not a shortstop.
Jackson Chourio is an
Yeah,
outfielder.
he's just an outfielder, right? Because
Yeah,
Jackson Merrill's a shortstop playing center field.
that's right.
Okay. And then Jackson Holiday he's a shortstop
Second
as well?
baseman.
Second baseman. Okay. I thought all of them were shortstops for some reason.
I bet they all could.
I'm pretty sure because they all hit triples in the same week, remember?
That was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
Jackson 3 for sure.
the Jackson 3. All right, let's move on, man. We had another debacle out there in spring training, and it seems like this guy's always a headline when it comes to talking to fans and giving them crap. I'll play the video. So Tommy Pham was out there in the outfield, and some Yankee fans were heckling him and telling them names. And of course, he said what he said. If you guys didn't hear what he said, I'll go ahead and play it again and try to, put your volume up on this. I just didn't want to say that stuff.
Yeah, man. This guy Tommy, man, he's a special character for the MLB, man. He's joined this 8 team in 5 years now. This guy has been jumping around. His attitude is something else. You're a professional baseball player, Carlos. You need to know what to do, how to handle these situations better. Ignore the fan. Move on. Don't make no scenes. People have phones for everything these days. And
Yeah,
this guy just continues to say crazy shit every single day. Just a couple days ago, I saw a video where he's saying he's a Ohtani in dominoes, that nobody could beat him, that he's the best dominoes player ever. The guy just continues to say shit all the time. That's the main reason why he slapped Jock Peterson, remember?
yeah. I
So,
think that
I
was the
mean,
first incident when we heard, right? The first incident from Tommy Pham slapping Jock
there
Peterson.
was probably more in the past. I just never
I,
made it because we didn't have the social media platform like we did back then, you know?
That's true. But he did slap Jock Peterson. And then you have later on, I guess a year or 2 years later, the incident that happened in Petco where they were talking back to fans. And it was in Petco, of course. And I can't say what it says, but we do have that video if you want to search it up in our channel. It's on there. And now we have this, have the Yankee fan talking to him. And I mean, is this good for baseball?
It does not look good, not in my eyes. I
No?
don't mind the bat flips, I don't mind the antics, but this gotta stop. You gotta ignore these fans. These fans are just doing it for the likes and the views. So these same people, it's like if we were to go to a game and we would just talk crap to a player and we'll be recording, just waiting to see how do they react so we could get 1 million likes and 1 million views and get popular.
Damn,
And
dude.
that's what that Yankee fan was doing. And they're known for that. Every MLB fan is doing it these days. Everybody's doing it for the content, for the gram, for trying to get more popularity. They're trying to get to see how they can make these players react. You have this guy, this giant fan that sits in the pavilions every day and just talks smack to the players in the left field or the outfield. And they just do this stuff for content, dude. So as an MLB player, you just got to ignore them, mind your business, focus on the game, and make the right play when the ball comes to you, and forget these fans, because these fans are ruthless, man. Let me tell
Yeah.
you that. They're
Yeah.
willing to do anything just to gain some type of popularity and make some type of money.
Yeah, and it's hard when you're out there and you're playing your game and you're trying to ignore everything that's happening out there, because you've had these fans saying, "Hey, are you an ass man or a boob man?" And then some of these players answer, "Raise your glove hand, whatever." And they do it, and it's you capture it, you capture the moment, you post it up, and you get like 1 million likes or whatever. And then like, what if these fans are saying certain things that is inappropriate when you're out in the field? Like you have kids around and you start
Exactly.
thinking about that stuff too. You shy away from it as a parent. You're like, I'm not going back to a game because I'm still going, but you have these parents that are like, oh, they're so vulgar here, and I don't want them to talk like that. You go to a football game, that's allowed though, right? I don't know why, but you have those fans that do that, and you hear these fans talking to these players like that, and some of these players do answer, which is sometimes it's cool, it's all right. And Tommy Pham probably got tired of this guy getting heckling him all game. We're gonna hear it with Soto when he goes out to Yankee Stadium this year. They're gonna greet him nice out there. They're not
Yeah.
gonna salute him. They're gonna boo him all the time he goes out there. So
You
can't
think
wait for
MLB has
that.
to step in though? Like, hey, we already know who posted this video. We obviously know who's the owner of the video. Will you do something and suspend a fan or something like that?
That's kind of hard because you're paying for a ticket.
Okay.
So you're paying for a ticket, you're enjoying yourself. Now, it's up to the fans that are next to this guy or whoever is talking to him. If they're part of it, they're enjoying themselves, then, fair game. If no one talks to the security and be like, hey, can you talk to the man in front? Like, he's really disrupting the game. He's really disrupting my view on the game. I think it's up to the fan, right?
Right.
Now, what happened in the incident in the World Series where they touched the player, like we all know what we're talking about, Mookie Betts, that's different. It could be partly like an assault, right? It could be viewed that way, but I don't know. I wouldn't step in just yet as a commissioner. If I was a commissioner of MLB, I won't do it. I will start putting rules out there, though. I will start saying, you know what, please, watch your mouths or whatever. They have those segments between innings. They
Right. Right.
tell
Right.
you like, hey, stop throwing the beach ball on the field. Certain all these things that you can possibly do for you not to get to that point. So, would you though?
You have to kind of kick them out of the stadium at least, in my opinion.
You think
Like,
so?
yeah, because I feel like security has to be more involved in that sense. Like, hey, if a player's chirping with a fan, that means a fan is instigating the situation. So you got to kick them out. And like you said, most of these guys are drunk as heck, and they don't even know what they're doing.
I got a
And
story.
it's
I
a
got a
kids
story
game,
for you
right?
though. I got a story for you for that. You just said drunk. Some of these players are drunk too.
Oh, yeah, that could be true. And I'm not sure what Tommy Pham is on, but that guy could possibly be on something. The way
Yeah,
he
because
acts, he's a special guy, man.
yeah. So you have the fan being drunk, and you have some of these players drinking in the dugout, and then going out to play left field, right field, and you're talking to them. Of course, they're not going to stay back. You become more. I guess you become more open to talk about it and say whatever you want to say. So now, does the player get looked at too because of that incident?
Yeah, he has to. I
So
mean,
yeah, it's a tough situation. I feel like we're seeing more of this, uh, and I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. I think it's just going to continue to happen. Hopefully, it doesn't get to a point where they start saying, you know what, no fans from this team is going to be able to join the stadium because of the incidents that are happening. And it's happened in soccer, in
right,
football,
right, right.
right?
But
It's
that one's been more violent, right? We could all agree that football fans are too violent out there. They love their team a little too much.
yeah, yeah. Are we getting too close to the players? Do you think?
I think we are. Yeah.
Right?
Somehow it feels closer because you have that camera that could zoom in, and it feels like you're just that close with them.
Yeah, because I remember when I was a kid compared to now. Like when I was a kid, the seats were a little bit more back. No, I wasn't paying those top, all the way in nosebleeds. Yeah, of course, I get that. But
Right,
we
right,
got
right.
some of those nice seats to sit in front, and they were a lot further from the field. And it could have been the first row. It just felt like more. It was we were more away from the players. Now you're on top of the players. Look at how Dodger Stadium was. Dodger Stadium had that big gap in home run. No one interfered with that. Now we have fans right on the fence catching, not home runs, but catching fly balls, making them an interference for a double.
Yep.
So a lot of these fields have that now. So we're closer to the field as well. So I think that's why these incidents are happening too. And spring training, everybody's close. Everybody's just right there on top of them, breathing on these players. So it could be overwhelming, dude. I can
Yeah, for
see
sure.
I can see these players getting overwhelmed with all these fans being on top of them, man.
Anthony Rendon.
Definitely Anthony Rendon. I don't think he wants to play anymore, huh?
I don't think so neither. I think he's over. I think if he comes back, he's gonna be like, "Oh, so when are you gonna get hurt next?" Or they're just constantly making all these memes about him. It's hard. Your mindset's just not there no more.
It's not there anymore. He's not there.
No.
Cool, man. We're reaching that point in time that we're leaving for that Sunday, I guess. It felt a little different this Sunday because I guess the time change and everything. If you were lazy and saw our show, thank you guys a lot. We really appreciate it. If you guys can hit that like and subscribe, we're trying to get that to 1,000 and hopefully get to 2,000 later on. We do have the Thursday show. It's a live show. If you like to play fantasy baseball, these guys have everything for you to possibly win your fantasy baseball. We do have an opening. One left, one more team. If you are interested in playing fantasy baseball, it's free. The winner will get a jersey with Real Talk. If, of course, this one's a Dodger one. If whoever won it last year was a Dodger fan, so he wanted this. If you're a Braves fan, you're a Phillies fan, we'll customize it for you with the Real Talk Baseball logo. And of course, the number is the year that you won it. And of course, champ. If
Wait, wait,
you're
wait.
interested, yeah, go for it.
Can we just get a jersey like that for myself? I'm just saying.
We should. I think we should, man, but we need to see. I think we should. We'll talk to the guys and see if they want to get something like that. But
We
if
need
you're
to have this
interested,
for
let
our
us know.
show.
What happened?
We need to have these jerseys for our show. Just saying.
I think so too. I think we should raffle one too. I think we should
Yeah.
definitely raffle one so we can have more people on here. But yeah, man, last mentions, go for it.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for stopping by and talking baseball with us. Thank you to our usual listeners for commenting and keeping our chat alive out there. But yeah, man, we're excited to be here for the full 2025 season and hope to bring you all the hottest MLB news and the latest stories because baseball is beautiful like that. Every day there's a new story, and tomorrow we're going to be finding out what happens to Gerrit Cole, and I think that's a huge news for this Yankee team that definitely needs him if they want to go back to the World Series.
Yeah, and we'll try to get on. We'll make a video, Ernie. Well, either me or you, we're gonna have to make it, dude, and post it up on our social medias. That's what I'm saying. Pop up to our social media so you guys can see the latest and greatest news on fantasy baseball and on MLB as well. From all of us here on Real Talk Baseball and College Baseball, this is Ernie Orange, Real Talk Baseball, signing out.